Hi, welcome to Film 360. We are the Full Circle Film Show. We are your hosts. I'm Michaela Iverson, and this is Brian Randall. And today we have Joe Puente with us. And tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, so Joe is a writer-producer, lives here in Utah, and he is just kind of a staple of the community. I feel like everybody. It's amazing to me this is the first time we're having a conversation, because I've known your name and like heard about you for a long time around here. Anyway, yeah, so thanks so much for coming on.
My pleasure.
I wanted to start us off tonight. This is a game for both of you guys tonight, and I call it Fandom or Furniture. These guys are going to have to choose. I have a list here, and they have to tell me whether this is a person, place, or thing from a pop culture, somewhere in pop culture, or an item at IKEA. So let's go ahead and start with you, Joe. And I'll do my best on pronunciation, but I apologize to any and all fandoms I offend in the process.
Who wrote this down? Did you do it?
Yeah, I did the research on this. Fructa.
This would be harder than
IKEA.
Correct. An IKEA shopping bag. It's
Okay.
called a fructa.
All right. That was a lucky guess. I think I've been to IKEA twice.
Okay, Michaela.
I mean, I knew it, but I was...
Gothmog.
I'm going to say that's something in fandom.
Correct. It is the Lord of the Balrogs from Lord of the Rings.
Oh, that's probably... People are probably like, hello! That's so obvious!
All right, Joe. Inamo.
Say again.
Inamo.
Inamo. Fandom.
An outdoor armchair from IKEA.
Okay. I actually own a lot of IKEA stuff. Never bought it directly from IKEA because I don't want to build it. I always get it secondhand.
I think we've all been there. All right, Michaela. Vimley.
Fandom.
It is a sofa.
Dang it! Okay.
Okay, Joe. Kallax.
That's a fandom thing.
Absolutely not. It is one of those 8-cube things.
Hey, I have one of those.
Yeah, I have one. I have two
Oh,
of them
with
too.
the little you can pull out.
Yeah,
the-
with that
I
is a
didn't know that.
Kallax. But it sounds like an awesome, guy flying a spaceship,
I pictured somebody with an axe.
right?
Yeah.
That could work.
Okay, Michaela. Tessek.
Oh, man. You're testing me here. Okay, fandom.
Fandom from Star Wars. Some of these,
I'm
many of
getting
these
all
I
these
didn't
ones.
know.
But people are probably watching like, come on.
Oh yeah. I hope
I'm a pretty
so.
big Star Wars fan. I didn't get that.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's like,
Okay.
It's
Cool.
okay.
I don't look at them.
Okay, Joe. Villa.
I know
Villia.
this one for sure.
I'm going to say IKEA.
False. It is one of the Elven rings from
Dang
Lord
it.
of the Rings.
Okay, oh,
Okay,
I
I'm-
thought I bought one of these.
I'm not a Tolkien guy. So.
You sit there reading Tolkien and you're like, I own that and that. and that. Okay.
Well, maybe I do. Okay.
Okay, Joe. Cloven.
Cloven. That's a fandom thing.
That is a bar stool from IKEA.
I mean, it's
But
probably
cloven,
in
it means
fandom
like
somewhere.
right?
cloven hooves.
I
I'm
love
thinking
it. I
like
sometimes think IKEA just
something-
trolls us
I
with
think
their
so.
names. There was a
Like-
shelf I saw looking this up called a You Trusta, and I was like, maybe I don't
like-
You
trust
trusted me?
it's like Haagen-Dazs, right? It sounds foreign, but it's totally made up.
Totally made up. I love that.
Okay.
All right, and Michaela last, Malkili. A lot of you probably know this one, but I
Well,
didn't.
If that's the case, then it's fandom.
It is the keeper of the Rancor in Return of the Jedi.
Okay, see, so that you kind of gave it away.
That's
'Cause
true.
they
That's
knew-
true.
You guys are all really big fans
For
of the
the rec-
IKEA furniture.
Did they do a fan film about him recently?
I don't know, but if they did, I want to see
They
it.
did like a little kid how he got the.
Oh my
Rancor.
gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to
should-
look
yeah.
that up. Okay, all right. But now we're going to get into the more serious portion of our night. Before we do, I want to thank our sponsors, Creative Stream Studios. They let us film in this awesome space. It's great for pretty much any production you can think of, as well as Summa Business Law. Awesome for contracts, other business matters related to film. So please check out their links down below. So Joe, you wanted to talk about a couple different things. The first is your documentary.
Yes, I produced a short documentary recently called hashtag Woke But Drowsy, and yes, hashtag is.
It's part of the name.
It is
Oh, I
part of the
didn't even
name,
realize that.
I'm trying to coin the term. You've all heard the term woke.
Yeah.
It's been around since 50s, 60s. civil rights era. I mean, if you're woke, it means okay, you're aware of issues about social justice and that kind of thing, or observed, you're perceived to be that way. And when I realized that I wasn't as woke as I maybe thought I thought I was, in retrospect, because I wasn't familiar with the term, and that I'm willing to be called out if I make any kind of mistake or faux pas when it comes to racial or social justice. We all say something that we don't think about, and I'm willing to be called out on it. So I figured, okay, I'm going to be woke but drowsy. That's going to be my out. Yes,
Nice.
I'm woke. I was just not completely woke. Thank you for educating me.
Nice.
So, well, that explains the title anyway.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
is the title, does it actually have like an actual hashtag,
Yes,
or is
yeah.
it like hashtag? the
No,
word?
no. It's the
Okay.
Actual
hashtag.
symbol.
Yeah, the pound
see.
symbol. Yeah.
So what is the subject of the documentary?
Well, about a year or so ago, I was watching Blackish on ABC.
Okay.
I love that show. And they were talking about the talk. And when I first heard the term the talk, I thought, oh, the talk, you mean like the birds and the bees? And no, in the African American community, the talk is the talk that families have with their kids about how to behave in the presence of a police officer
Oh,
or anyone in a position of authority, really.
interesting.
And the thing is that the talk has been happening in the African American community for generations. And most white people don't know anything about it. And I was kind of embarrassed because I thought I was woke. I thought I was, pretty socially conscious person. But that really opened my eyes to it, and I decided to do kind of a comparison approach. Do person on the street interviews, and what we wound up doing was asking. We interviewed African American interviewees and white interviewees, and we asked them the same questions. We asked them, "So, how old were you when you got the talk? How did it make you feel? What was the talk about?" And without giving them any more context, the answers were pretty predictable, depending on who we were asking. Because you ask the white person, they start chuckling, the talk, oh, I was 12 or something, my parents, I was so embarrassed, blah, blah, blah. And then you get these really sobering answers from African American members of the community, and they're like, oh yeah, my dad sat me down and told me, it's like, keep your hands on the steering wheel when the cop comes up and don't reach for anything. And it's two totally different conversations with the same name, and more of the white community is just really not aware of what the black community experiences. And I think it's sad that here we are, in the first quarter of the 21st century, and we're still not quite figuring it out, but it's finally starting to come to the fore. So I wanted to relate to it in broader contexts, but what I wound up doing toward the end was, because I'd seen videos before, other documentaries that approached it in a very kind of a sterile approach to it, I decided to just look at it from a personal perspective as a white Latino, as someone who, until you know my last name, you're just going to assume I'm just another white guy, and that has some really interesting experiences to go with it as well.
Oh, I bet.
So I've experienced racism, and I've been completely ignorant of racist ideas that have just gotten into my head just because of the system that we are brought up in.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Where can we see it, or when can we see it, I guess is maybe.
You can see it now. It's online. It's on YouTube. It's on
Great.
Facebook. Look up that hashtag woke but drowsy. That should bring it right up. The YouTube channel is Section 1 Biz. For Section 1 Entertainment. Section 1 Entertainment is the production division of the Utah Filmmakers Association, which is the nonprofit that I administer, and we run the Utah Filmmakers and Actors Group on Facebook.
So how long ago? Oh, sorry.
Oh no, that segues into what we talk about next. But what did you want to?
How long ago did you finish the film? When did it get released?
We completed it in April.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
recent. recent.
Yeah, we were
Excellent.
working on it for several months. We tried to do, some crowdfunding. We tried to do, we had a goal for, what we got to about 20% of where we would have liked to have been with the goal. And we figured, well, we have to make it anyway. So we
Nice.
worked with our budget and were able to do it. It was about a year from concept to finish, though.
Cool. Good. Okay, so let's talk about the Utah Filmmakers Association and what your mission is. I imagine a lot of states have an organization like this.
I suppose they do.
And so I bring that up because I know a lot of our audience isn't local. And
Oh,
so I want to encourage them to find groups like this. So I want you to talk about the mission and what you guys do for locals, and then, yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I remember years ago when I was in school in college, I was going to Weber State University, and the first semester we were editing on videotape. The second semester we were editing digitally. So I experienced the transition in 1 year.
Wow.
Going from the old, Super VHS decks to a Sony Vaio and Adobe Premiere, and working on mini DV tape and stuff. And that was the point when people started to notice, oh wow, the price of filmmaking, the cost is no longer becoming a barrier. And the Blair Witch Project came out and ruined it for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
And anyways, as more people were getting interested in filmmaking, and the internet was starting to come to its own, and social media was just around the corner, and everyone was thinking the same thing. Oh well, the internet, we can get together and we can collaborate and bring everything together. And so UtahFilmmakers.org. I think the first time I registered it was 99 or 2000, something like
wow.
that. And I was surprised that it hadn't been registered yet. I'm like,
Yeah.
really? This is? I think I even lost it for a year, and still nobody picked it up. And then I'm like, well, okay. But you look on. I remember. Well, you look online now, Utah Film or California Film or any film state film thing, and you're going to find where there's an active community. There may very well be several different groups. I know on Facebook there are.
Oh, yeah.
Over a dozen, maybe
Now,
2 dozen.
It didn't start that way, though. I will say, because I've been part of the Utah
Yeah.
Filmmakers and Actors group since it was below 3,000, and it
Yes.
was pretty much the only one at that time.
True. Well, there were. Well, I remember when I first joined it, because I didn't start it. Ben Hawker had started it in 2007, and I remember at one point though I belonged to that group and like 3 or 4 other groups, and I noticed I was getting the same announcements and I realized like all the same people are all in all these same groups. I don't need to be in all these groups, so I'm like, which one has the most members? Utah Filmmakers and Actors. Okay, I'm gonna stick with that one and forget it. And I was pretty active in there, and then Ben invited me to be an admin, and now everyone says, "Oh, it's yours now." I'm like, I didn't plan it, but I guess it is. So Ben's on the board of Utah Filmmakers now, though, so it
Yeah.
kind of legitimized it.
Yeah. So what is the mission exactly?
Well, over the years, we've done a bunch of different things. We've worked with kids. We've done high school workshops, lectures,
Nice.
screenings. That was when I was living in central Utah, where
Oh.
I was the film scene.
Yeah.
There's nobody else down there. Maybe there are a few professional videographers in the area. No one really doing, when I was there, no one really doing narrative film. And then when I moved up to Salt Lake, I kind of laid low for a while. I kept the organization legally existing, paid the renewals with the state and everything. But I was trying to get a better idea of what was going on in Salt Lake to figure out, okay, what's already being taken care of. I don't need to do stuff with youth because we've got Spy Hop,
Yeah.
who's got, they've got the youth people taken care of. It's like, awesome, great, that's hard work. I never want to do it again. I'm glad Spy Hop is here. We've got organizations like Utah Film Center and, what was Averick Art House and now the Artist Foundry
Oh, yeah.
as a resource for filmmakers to go. And, they have film equipment you can use. They have editing bays. It's like, awesome. I don't ever want to invest in equipment again. It's expensive and annoying, and I don't want to keep up with it. Okay, that's being taken care of. And then after a while, it was like, gosh, what am What am I going to do? What's left? And most of my activity in the community was basically through the Facebook group. And one thing that I realized was that we had, as I was going to community events, networking events, things like that, and working on film sets, either as crew or as background, was that I noticed that a lot of the crew people on the set were not at the community events, and a lot of the community people were not working on the set. And someone finally pointed out to me, they're like, "Hey, Joe," it was Ben Fuller over at Media Riff. He says, "You're one of the few people I know who's like in the community and kind of in the industry too. Not a lot of people have that foothold in both." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, they are two totally different things."
Yeah.
That's the thing. And then I kind of figured out the reason that you've got a lot of independent or hobbyist filmmakers, the enthusiasts, not on the sets is because they don't know how to get there. They're fine making movies on their own on the weekends with their friends, but they do not know how to get their foot in the door with the actual industry.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, that's something that maybe I can help with. So that's been the focus of the organization since then, helping community filmmakers have a better understanding of the industry standards and the simple business practices that you need to know to transition from being a hobbyist to a professional filmmaker.
Awesome. Real quick, we're going to take a break and thank our sponsors. So please stay tuned. Check out these lads for our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Oh, accursed one. I shall have my revenge.
And cut.
Sometimes you need a place to get that perfect shot. Whether it's in a mystic land, a galaxy far, far away, or in an office, not so far away. But most people don't have the resources for a full studio or the money to rent one. Enter Creative Stream. Creative Stream was built from the ground up with creators and business needs in mind. It's the perfect space whether you're making a YouTube video, recording a corporate training, or just getting those final shots for your latest feature film. Creative Stream is pre-lit, and the state-of-the-art LED lighting setup allows for effortless lighting adjustments that will make your work stand out. The studio features a white cyc wall, a green screen, and a beautiful talk show set. Creative Stream has fantastic prices for professionals and even offers special pricing for student filmmakers. Whatever the size of your next production, Creative Stream can make you look your very best. To learn more or schedule your next production, visit www.creativestreamstudios.com.
Running a successful business is hard work, and navigating the complexities of the law is time-consuming and even costly. There are so many legal considerations: business formations, entity selection, taxes, partnership agreements, licensing, hiring employees, business contracts, non-disclosure agreements, sale of a business, estate plans, and mergers, just to name a few. This is more work than most business owners can handle on their own. Let Summa Business Law guide you through each phase of your business and help your business achieve further growth. Summa Business Law offers a flexible subscription service that makes it possible for anyone to have access to the business counsel they need. A monthly subscription can give you access to document reviews, protecting you from potential legal threats, one-on-one meetings, as well as business and legal advice. We offer mobile services that come to you to save you time and money, and calls and emails are available at any time at no additional cost. Contact Summa Business Law today to schedule your free consultation and help your business reach its potential. Welcome back. We're going to continue our conversation about the Utah Filmmakers Association.
So something you mentioned earlier was that filmmaking is always entrepreneurial. So what did you mean by that? Could you expand on that for us?
Well, it is a collaborative art form, yes, but because of its collaborative nature, there is a business aspect to filmmaking that you really can't take out of it. Anytime two people agree to do something together, they're conducting business, regardless of whether or not they're planning on getting a return on their investment or not. Where film comes in, that's always going to be a factor, and you should always take it into account, regardless of whether or not you think it's going to, be a windfall or not. Approach it as if it is. Approach it professionally. So keeping that business aspect in mind is also very helpful in maintaining a professional attitude on your set. Again, regardless of how big your project is. And if you're just starting out, if you approach everything professionally, you'll be better prepared when you step up into more professional environments.
Awesome. I love it. And actually, what you did say earlier, and I like this a lot, that business can't be removed. You can't separate the business from the art form. And film is so interesting that way, because a painting, maybe there were people who posed for the painting, but otherwise it was all one guy. And a film, you have to bring together the visions of, I mean, you watch the credits for Endgame, and this,
Yeah,
it's like a
exactly.
feature film of its own just to watch the credits.
And when you have all those people involved, everyone has contributed something, and they all, and their time and their talent has value. And it's like, okay, here's where the business thing comes in. It's like, do you pay them for their value, or do you, involve them as, owners when you're, when you're working in smaller projects, that kind of thing.
So what are some of the steps that you take on a set to treat every shoot, every project, as a professional project, even the smaller ones?
Even for the smallest productions that I do, I start with a business plan. Actually, I start with a story that I want to tell.
Good.
For the artists out there, yes, that's where you start. But for the film, you start with a business plan, and you make it very clear. It's like, okay, well, we're doing it with these people are involved. We have this budget. Here's how we're going to get the money. Here's how people are going to be paid or compensated or what have you. Get everything down on paper so that everyone involved can see it and they know exactly where they stand. So,
Good. And so what are some other steps that you would recommend to somebody who's just starting out, some simple things they can implement that will take their professionalism up a notch from where they probably are?
I would say right after that business plan, make sure everybody has a deal memo. It doesn't have to be a multi-page contract.
Yeah.
But, a simple deal memo that says, okay, I'm doing, this is Bob. Bob is going to be the director. He's being paid X, or he has so much % ownership in the project. He agrees to do the job on such and such dates, just all the very basic info. If everybody involved knows what they're doing and they can just refer to a simple piece of paper that defines what they're doing, then there's not going to be any second guessing.
It always surprises me, like even like that bigger sets don't do that. I'm always like, you're not going to have me sign anything?
Yeah, I've been on a few like that before too, and it can be a little unnerving. If it's a smaller project, there are local established filmmakers that I've worked with that didn't have paperwork for me, but they're art house types,
Yeah.
so it's like, it's okay. I can say I've worked on this film with this guy. That's fine with me. But when you have other filmmakers who are putting on airs about being in the industry and they don't know what chain of title means, then it's like, that's the sort of thing that we're trying to do with Utah filmmakers, to be able to help people have a grasp. It's like, it's okay to not know these things up front, but you need to be willing to learn them.
You need to learn. Okay, and let's have one other suggestion that you have to take your set up a notch in professionalism.
And this is where I draw a blank, of course. My favorite thing is compensate everyone. Now, compensate doesn't necessarily mean, yes, it's my favorite topic. It comes up in the filmmakers group a lot. Someone will be annoyed about unpaid gigs and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, if you're a student, that's fine. But my thinking is, even if you're a student, I've worked on student films where I've been paid. It may have been $5 for gas and a bottle of vodka. True story. I don't even drink, but they gave it to me, and I'm like, okay, fine.
Hey, listen, they're students.
There's that. Yeah, exactly.
They had it in the fridge.
Make sure people are compensated. Make sure that they know that you understand that their time is valued. If the best you can do is a token payment, hey, thanks for your time. Here's $20 for gas. That goes a long way. Mm-hmm. That shows that you get it, and it gives you a lot more in social capital, as far as establishing yourself as someone who is serious, as someone who like I said, values people's time, and when they know that, they're more willing to work with you again in the future. So, in compensation, again, it could be a token payment. It could be a clear understanding. Even if you're not being paid upfront, if you're offered ownership, equity, shares in the project. I've worked on projects like that where I go, well, I got my gas money and I've got a percentage of the company that never sold. But hey, I'm still part owner.
I got it.
I take pride in that, and I show it to my friends all the time.
Well, if they even give you just a little bit, it shows that they took a little bit more time in preparation to be able to
Absolutely.
save even that $20 per actor, whatever.
Exactly.
So it makes you
And-
have more faith in the production.
And I also had a situation where our production Fanatics a couple of years ago, we involved a bunch of cosplayers, local cosplayers,
Oh yeah,
to come
I
to be in
watched that.
Fanatics.
That was fun.
And at the end of the day, the best we could do was give them all $10 for gas, and a couple of people signed for it, and they took their envelope and they handed it right back, and they said, "You just put it to the production. We're just glad to help." And I was like, "Okay."
Yep. So what are some of the other ways? Something that I've seen come up a lot with this is that food is not compensation, and I actually agree with that because you should be doing that anyways.
Yeah.
It's inhumane. What are some other creative ways for a low budget production that needs a few people and they are either out of money or don't have any money? What are some creative ways that you feel are acceptable compensation? I mean, a bottle of vodka.
That's established.
That's what he wants, guys.
I say if you're going to look for places to save money on your budget, don't do it at personnel. Do not cut into someone's livelihood.
Okay. Yeah.
You could ask for a break on a kit fee. You know,
Okay.
that little bit of extra that they usually get, just to cover wear and tear on equipment. It's something that they can count on a big production. On a small production, you can ask. It's like, money's tight. Will you waive the kit fee because we need to cover or something like this? One thing that I do try and do, I know food is not compensation, but I think it's totally okay to go overboard on crafting and catering.
Oh yeah.
On my production side, tell you that's the only department you're allowed to go over budget on, because we all judge movies based on the quality of the catering. I've been on shorts where the catering is pretty good. I've been on features where it's like, ugh. I was on the caterer that we hired, Daniel Cantu. He had Twin Sons Cafe. I think they're going to relocate at some point.
Yeah.
He's a terrific caterer. We hired him for Fanatics. Oh my gosh, it was awesome. It was better than any feature I'd ever been on. I mean, normally it's paper plates, right? We had like nice silverware and stuff was clinking. I'm like, this is real catering. It was awesome. I can only afford to do it for one day, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I've seen. Okay, I'll give you some examples of the ones I've
Throw
seen
some others.
posted.
Yeah,
I
what else have
want
you
to
seen?
kind of bounce these off of you. Demo reels. Somebody will cut a demo reel for you. I'm not talking just of your footage from the production. I mean, a full demo reel. I've seen headshots.
That can fall under a trade.
Yes.
Doing things in kind.
Yes.
Yeah, that's reasonable. If you're offering something of value, I've seen people. Hey, I can do your headshots.
Headshots.
Well,
that was
that's
just
great.
the one I was going to bring up.
That's $200 or $300 I don't have. I will gladly work on this project. Can you give me some nice photos I can put them on my website or something? Yeah.
Yep.
So something in kind. That's a good way to do it.
Those are the main other two that I've seen come up many times. And yeah, I think they're good options because there's a lot of people out there who are willing to just show up for free, but it doesn't mean you should do that.
Are those the people you want, too?
It
That's- you gotta
depends.
ask that question,
I mean,
too.
it depends, but more importantly, you should still compensate them anyway. Just because they're willing to doesn't mean they shouldn't get something.
That's true.
Does that make sense? I mean, getting a chance to be in a movie isn't the same level of excitement as it used to be.
True.
Because everybody's making a movie now on every corner.
And let me tell you something. The worst movies that are getting made, that are on TV, that are in the theaters, everyone's getting paid on those.
Yeah,
And they're awful. I don't watch most of them,
yeah,
but they're fully funded.
yeah.
They've all done their due diligence.
Yep.
Everyone's been compensated, contracts signed, union dues paid.
Yep.
So
Well-
what's your excuse if you're not going to pay? You
Yeah.
have a great story, terrific. Then
Get some money.
do it right.
Yeah, I used to get people to work for free for me a lot, but it was a few years ago I realized no.
Everybody starts out that way.
I can't do this anymore.
I think part
Yeah.
of it is people, they like to comfort themselves by saying, oh, I'm an artist. It's the art. And I've had people say that to me, oh, you care more about the money than the art. It's like, it's okay not to be in it for the money, but you have to be in it for a living.
Yeah, yeah.
If you can't, at least pay your rent and your bills doing this, why bother?
Yeah. Yeah, well,
Well,
and
that
there
works,
are hobbyists out there, but again, I feel like I've come to this point where I'm like, no, I want to compensate everybody somehow, and a lot of times that has been trade.
Oh yeah, and there's nothing wrong with being a hobbyist filmmaker, and
Right.
as long as you're
Yeah.
aware of it.
You're aware.
We've got, as we're taping this, we're getting ready for the 48-hour film project coming up.
Oh yeah.
I got a team that I work with. Most of the time, the only time they get to make movies is the 48,
Yep.
and that's fine.
Yep.
And in the end, they don't even own it.
Yeah.
They have to give it away. That's great. But anyone who's serious about wanting to call themselves a professional filmmaker, they need to be open to learning the industry standards, abiding by them, and also understanding that it is a business. And isn't that kind of cool though? Don't you want to be in show business? That is what they call it. There
Absolutely.
are legal requirements that go along with
Yeah.
that, and it's good to be knowledgeable about that.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on. This was great. It's good to finally have a
My
face-to-face. And where can people learn more? Again, you mentioned earlier, but where can people learn more about the Filmmakers Association?
UtahFilmmakers.org.
Perfect.
So simple.
So simple. And you know what? .com and .net goes right to the same thing.
Nice. Nice. Okay.
I got them locked down. So.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, and be sure to tune in next week for more great stuff from Film 360.